Hello and welcome back to AOR F1 2016 Season 13. We're here today for the Monaco Grand Prix, round number 5 of the PS4 F1 Championship. I know it's been a while since we've had AOR on the channel. I said this last time out and, life's just got in the way of the commentary people here. But I'm back. Yeah, I'm Aarava and I'm joined today by Callum in the commentary box for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Hello, I'm back after I've only done one commentary so far this season, but I am back for my second one. And what a race to return to Monaco. It's going to be a very, very interesting race on our hands today, just because of the walls. That's the main reason why we love Monaco. It's an incredible circuit. We'll see the qualifying in a minute. These cars will look amazing in qualifying, but even with very little race strategy here today, it is going to be an absolute amazing race on our hands.
Yeah, definitely always is an intense one. Offline, especially online now, you've got, all these online players battling it out, trying to, not put it into the barriers and not also put it into each other. So it's going to be a very interesting one. Season's 12 winner was Nervo Tank. Obviously, last time out, only a very unlucky race at the Spanish Grand Prix. By the way, if you haven't seen that, and if it's been a while since the last episode, be sure to go get caught up on that. But last time out, Nervo Tank wasn't very lucky, but last season, he won this race from pole position as well. So let's see if he can have a bit more luck than he did in Spain. But we're going to get straight into that very crucial qualifying report.
So, it's time for the qualifying comparison in the AOR PS4 F1 League round of the Monaco Grand Prix, with Resi and Nardi in the Red Bull and Williams respectively taking us around the amazing, if you don't mess it up, Circuit de Monaco. Having already rounded the first corner of the lap with a good amount of speed, it's uphill through Bourrivage and into Massenet. A high-speed left-hander where precision is absolute key, keeping to the left on the exit to open up the Casino corner, turn 4, before running over the big bump on the way down to Mirabeau. Nardi choosing to avoid the bump entirely while Resi just drives straight over it, and after the first sector of the lap it looks like Resi has a very marginal advantage. Now through the tightest corner on the whole F1 calendar, the Grand Hotel hairpin, and then straight into two pretty tricky right-handers. Slow speed in second gear with Resi slightly ahead still, and you really have to nail the line through this one to set yourself up for a good exit, trying to get on full throttle as early as possible for the long, by Monaco standards at least, run through the tunnel and down into the chicane. Very heavy braking zone, Resi choosing first gear through there while Nardi stays in second, and a pretty close call there for Resi, actually having to avoid a car that was going slow, but he doesn't seem to have lost him any time as they now fly through to back, and still Resi has a very marginal advantage, scraping the wall on the exit, absolutely on the limit. And now into the final sector of the lap through the swimming pool chicane. Nice and clean as you like through there, and then for the heavy braking zone into Rascasse. And actually Nardi seems to have brought himself back slightly through this final sector. Both drivers getting a yellow flag notice through there, heading into the final corner. Resi still with his front wing ahead, but if Nardi can absolutely nail this exit, there is still a chance for him as in a run towards the finish line. And as we pause it for the final time, Resi is ahead by less than a tenth of a second, and he will take the crucial pole position around Monaco, with Nardi starting on the second row in P4.
So after that qualifying comparison, here is the full grid for the Monaco Grand Prix. Incredible margins on the front row with Resi and Big Shot Player being separated by 0.06 of a second. Both on ultra soft tyres, but absolutely incredible margins on that front row, and goes to show how crucial the qualifying is here in Monaco, with Big C and Nardi X Team on the second row, 0.027 and 0.029. Incredible, the top four separated by just under a tenth, with the Mercedes drivers of Ali K and Nervo Tank in 5th and 6th position respectively, with Clarkey and Simo Alonso in P7 and P8, with the top 10 being rounded out by Walsh and Jay Fawn in at 9th and 10th. Desimpele and Wallen line up in 11th and 12th place, with Shelley and Ferrari Fan just pushing over the 1 second mark off pole position, with Loki and Jamie in 15th and 16th, and Alex and H Racing Green on the 9th row, with RBOS and iSuper Scrub just about 2 seconds and a very minor 12 seconds off the place on the last row of the grid. But nonetheless, let's move into the race for this all-important Monaco Grand Prix.
Right, here we are. It is race time for the Monaco Grand Prix, and very interesting vibes right now because you can see it is raining here at Monaco. So we already said it's going to be a thrilling one from qualifying, where usually obviously around this circuit it's very crucial, but now with the added rain, Callum, this is going to be even more exciting, I feel.
I've just moved closer to the edge of my seat, seeing a little sprinkle of rain. That's going to really spice up the start of this race. Bone dry qualifying, and all them ultra soft tyres that they did qualify on is now gone down the drain. We're going to be starting on more than likely, I'm not sure, looks like intermediate tyres, and yes, it is intermediate tyres as the drivers start their formation lap. But overtaking is very, very difficult around here. But I think we're going to see a lot more overtaking with this added sprinkle of rain.
Yeah, for sure, because you know, through the traction zones you'll have people making some mistakes potentially, so that's going to help a few drivers make their way up. One of them may be this man we're looking on board with, Jay Thorne, in 10th place so far. Got very unlucky in this season so far from how he performed last season, so he'll be wanting to make his way up. And the two Ferrari boys, Big C and Big Shot Player, doing a fantastic job in qualifying compared to what they've done this season so far, Callum. So hopefully they'll be looking to look forward rather than back. But we mentioned the barriers already. That's another issue. You know, there may be other drivers who are not looking to overtake, maybe just looking to avoid the barriers with the slippery conditions out here. It definitely is going to add to that already top challenge of the Monaco Grand Prix.
It's not a bad strategy, just basically being quite passive throughout the entire race, because the amount of people in league racing history that just push it a little bit too much and just end up in the wall. I've done it myself. I think Aarava, you've probably ended up in the wall at some point during a league race, for sure. But it's going to be a battle of attrition. 39 laps. Every single one of these corners is going to be a challenge, and they've just got to. It's just traction zones, to be honest, and it's literally just fine margins. And if most top 10 runners manage to make it to the end, I'm going to be very, very surprised if they can stick with their position that they're on. But obviously, Jamie already cut in the corner on this formation. That may be getting a little bit of practice for the rest of this race. But I'm very interested at the front, because the Ferraris have qualified very, very well. But can they keep up in these race conditions? That's what I'm really interested in, Aaron.
Yeah, and the same with the Mercedes guys. You mentioned it in the qualifying standings. Both Mercedes a little bit down from where we expect them. So definitely is going to be interesting to see how many of these teams swap positions. Also, the two Renaults have been way down the order in the last couple of races from where we thought they'd be initially at the start of this season. So it's going to be definitely a very interesting one. But these 39 laps sounds like a lot, but 39 laps will literally fly by, really, with the amount of concentration you need around Monaco. It's kind of definitely tunnel vision here at the Monaco Grand Prix. So these drivers will be on the uber concentration, basically. But we're going to go now to 5 red lights to the Monaco Grand Prix, round number 5 of the season. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway. And Big C, as Big C jumped the start there, Jim Aresti gets away pretty okay. Big Shot Player bogging down as you got an RDX team making an overtake move into turn 1, up into P3. But was that Big C jumping the start? Was that some lag? We're not too sure, as many teams go side by side. The Haas car goes side by side with the Red Bull car. Jim Aresti trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari car. Doesn't go. I think it worked. I think he pulled it off. Yes, he did. And so it's Aresti in effective, I would say, first place. But I'm sure Big C will have some sort of penalty there, Callum, for what looked like a jump start.
Yeah, the lights were on for an incredible amount of time. You were stuttering with commentary. It went on for that long. So he must have just been caught out by how long them lights were on. But also, we can see just a little bit of battling behind. Everyone very, very clean. I'm going to see a huge round of applause for everyone being so clean at the start of this Grand Prix. But as they make the way through Portier and into their brief dry spell through the tunnel, lots of drifting coming out of Portier. We're going to see a lot of that throughout this Grand Prix. But they've now just got to settle in and settle into 39 laps of concentration going into the braking zone, into the harbour chicane. We've already seen a little bit of battling up ahead. NRDX team, I think that is battling with one of the Ferraris as they all drift coming out of the corner, on board with Novo Tank and Ali K just ahead. Neither of these drivers making up any positions at the start of this Grand Prix, so that is one chance out the window. The rest of the race now is going to be them just trying to get past each other. And also at Mercedes, will Ali K maybe let Novo Tank through? We do not really know the wet pace of many of these drivers, so it's just going to be very, very interesting as we set up for the rest of this race. Yeah,
definitely a very unknown here, and it'll be a weird situation for the Mercedes boys. Obviously they're leading the constructors, so as we look at now the two Ferrari drivers swapping, Big Shot Player down the inside, has Big C basically now been given a penalty in game? We're not too sure. He looks like he's struggling for grip. He's on lean mixture. He gets overtaken by 2 Mercedes cars there, and so he's dropping off the face of the cliff. So I don't know if he's got an issue at this moment. His car seems to be whirling around there, but the two Ferraris do swap. I was about to say the 2 Mercedes cars obviously lead the championship, so I think they'll be most out of most of the teams. They'll be the ones taking it nice and patiently. They don't need to kind of dive down the inside and try and maybe force a move here. They just need to keep out of the barriers, and hopefully, just like you saw there with Big C going down the order, they can just pick up places. You can see Big Shot has hit the wall, and RDX team goes side by side in a very unorthodox place here at Monaco as they go towards the Monaco tunnel. There's been contact there between the Mercedes car and the Ferrari. It was Ali K, and now Novo Tank has also been caught up in that bit of a domino effect, and now Big C on the back of Novo Tank. So now it's all kicking off here at the Monaco Grand Prix. We had some calmness for one and a half laps, but now It is really starting to turn up the heat. Now behind them, you can see Jaythorn trying to go around the outside. Lovely little move this will be. If he can pull it off on the Toro Rosso there, over around Alonso, that will be. And can he make it stick round the outside? Just about. Yes, he will. Yep, he's got it. What a great move there by Jaythorn to get up the order up into 9th place. But now we move back to the Mercedes fight there. Ali K still ahead of Nervotang, but getting a little bit feisty. Maybe the two Mercedes cars are already getting a little bit restless behind that one Ferrari car now, or Big Shot player.
Well, he said maybe they might want to take it patiently. It looks like they're not going to be so patient in this race, but we've already saw a little bit of bumping and barging. Still no major crashes, but a huge concertina effect. That's one of the perks of this track is if there's a little bit of an incident up ahead, it can affect all the drivers behind. A little bit of bumping and barging. I think one of the Ferraris has already got a little bit of front wing damage, I noticed, on the first lap, but they've just really got to settle into this race now. As we see at the moment going through the casino section, Nervotang is all over the back of his teammate at the minute. He's going to make some sort of dive move into Mirabeau, looking at it. He's definitely looking at it, but he's going to take his time. Like I've said, they are leading the championship and they do not need to make any risks, take any risks this race. But with that Ferrari up ahead as well, a Big Shot player, it's going to be huge questions. But also, I think Big C basically put on show that if you make a mistake, you can drop through the field very, very quickly. He went from around about P2 all the way down to P6. These drivers will be on you the moment you have some slight issue, as Alex just understeers into the barrier, just checking his front wing, but a huge train behind. That's going to be a very, very interesting little battle to look at for the rest of this race.
Yeah, you can see RBS's teammate struggling a little bit. He's got a very overheated right front tyre there. So both the Renault cars, as I mentioned, you know, I've been very, very surprised. Oh my God! There's a very slow and undramatic crash there for the Monaco of Shelley. He's out of this Grand Prix. So Callum, that's one car to already tick off our list here. The survival of Monaco, 39 laps here. We don't know if the weather's going to clear up. That does mean a safety car has been called out. So we can take a bit of a pause and a breather on this race. But that was a very, very slow, undramatic crash, and the wheel kind of came off very, very quickly there into the wall. But as we said, Monaco, that's half the race really, just keeping out of the barriers. Especially when you're racing online with, you know, it's so competitive. Everyone's on edge. It's not like maybe offline where you've got some time to take a breather. Everyone's going to be pushing as hard as they can in league races. And there you go. But meanwhile, the race leader, I was going to say, Aarava, that's really playing to his hands, not just the safety car. Well, actually, maybe the safety car may hinder him, but what was happening behind him with all the concertina effect, that would have really helped him just settle into that race. But here's the race start. Very odd. It looks like Big C, actually, on his screen, that was just the 5 red lights, so... That
wasn't a jump start for Big C, so... But so maybe he's being sportsmanlike and letting him through.
Perhaps so.
Fair play to Big C if he has done that, but that's very, very strange. We often see drivers being held for too long, but it's rare to see a driver being held not long enough compared to the rest of the field. But fair play to him if he did let off. I think that's what he did. He just let off to let the rest of the field through. But we're seeing the rest of the replays of the start. Mostly, you see how clean it was going into turn 1. Everyone was very, very cautious on the brakes. Alex went up the inside, picking up a few positions there, but being squeezed into the apex, and that meant he had awful traction going up the hill through Beau Rivage. And I think as he went side by side with H Racing Green. But yeah, just incredible start from the rest of them. But I'm not sure what really to say about the Big C incident. It was, I'm a little bit speechless at it. I can't really put words in to say. I've never seen that happen before, and that's something obviously Codemasters need to work on. As I see a huge lock-up from RBOS, and that's one of the reasons why he's so far behind. A little bit of front wing damage, and that was just a little bit of misjudgment on the brakes. He's going to be happy that there's a bit of a safety car, but he has got a bit of front wing damage, and this recovery. I'm hurting at the minute.
That is painful. That is a painful recovery. That's about a 6-point turn there in a 360. That's one of the hardest places to really turn it around. Yeah, so that's going to be a big one to kind of, well, at least the safety car may help him, but yeah, that's not going to add to the pretty piss poor luck RBOS has had in recent races in the AOR season so far. Obviously, Spain wasn't a great one for both Renault cars, having a lot of gravel action in the opening laps there. But now, let's go through the safety car period. Just going through the order, it's Aarava then in first place. Nardi X Team doing a decent job once again in second place there. Obviously, he starred pretty much for the last 2 races. You know, he's come out of nowhere in his last 2 races where it kind of looked like he was sleeping maybe for the winning of the season, but now he's kind of announced himself and he's ready to kind of stay here at the top end there. Big Shot player, obviously, we mentioned third place. Going to be probably, I'm going to guess at this stage, Callum, I'm going to already predict that Big Shot player may be a bit of a bottleneck for these 2 Mercedes guys, and I think they're going to really probably get annoyed by him later on in this race, I'm going to say.
Well, I'd say so, because the Mercedes look like they've got some very, very decent pace at the moment, and with Nervo Tank being tucked up behind his teammate, I think a little the patience might be running out. They might run out a little bit, but the rest of the grid, Big C, sorry, in P6 just behind. He seemed to drop off the pace even after he let everyone through. He seemed to drop off the pace quite a bit. Clarkey seemed to like he wanted to challenge up ahead, and then we've got Jay Thorne. There was a huge battle behind it. I'm kind of annoyed about this safety car because it was some real good battles really starting to brew, especially the one at the back. But hopefully the safety car is in sometime soon. I think it is in this lap. But hopefully, maybe the rain either increases in intensity or decreases. But we don't have a clue about the weather forecast. This is the beauty of being a third-person commentator. We don't have a clue about the weather forecasting.
Yeah, we won't know if it's going to dry up or get any weather, so it's just going to be a mystery for us. But yeah, the safety car looks like it is coming in, so this will be a Resi to lead them back out for what will be on towards lap 7. As looks like he's bolted a little bit early, drifting through all the cars, sliding about there through the final corner. Lovely little shot there. You can see Big Shot player really drifting through. He's lost a bit of his front wing there, as Callum did confirm earlier on. So Ali K has got past him up into third place there. Will Novatang make a move? Big Shot player really getting the braking wrong. Hits the back of Ali K. Thankfully for both those drivers, nothing else comes of it. But will Novatang now make the move? At this point, he's going to be so impatient now. He's going to want to get past him, but at the moment, oh mate, look down the inside of Casino. No, not quite. So Big Shot, as I did say, going to be a bottleneck. He's lost it to Ali K, but Novatang does send it down the inside. It's going to be a great little move there for the championship leader. Great stuff there for Novatang, and he joins his teammate to make that one overtake move. So now they're both up to third and fourth, respectively. Great stuff. And now, once again, it's two Mercedes, then two Ferrari cars once again. So it's all a bit like Noah's Ark at the moment, Callum.
Yeah, we're in this midfield, well, in the upper midfield of the top 10. And they basically believed, the Mercedes, that there would be a bit of a bottleneck, and they pretty much dispatched him pretty quickly. And as you can see, I don't know if you noticed it, Aarava, on the first lap, everyone's brakes were so cold as he went into the braking point. For Massanet, all of them almost went straight on into the barriers. It's not the first time we've seen in the wet conditions people go straight on. But look at the Mercedes, they've already back, like, look at that gap that they've already pulled, and Novatang is right on the back of Ali K. I won't be surprised if Ali K doesn't just pull over, because Novatang looks like he's just seething with pace at the moment. And let's have a look at the front. The two guys ahead, they've got a slight gap to the two Mercedes, but after that little bit of overtaking on the opening lap, they're going to be absolutely on it like a car bonnet. And we're riding on board with Clark at the moment, and Big C is really seeming to struggle. I don't know if it's a bit of lag, but he does seem to be struggling with a lot of oversteer, and as he goes up the inside into Sandoval, and there's a bit of contact. Clarkey is round, and he's going to have to do a slight. Oh, I think he might have to wait for the whole field to come through.
Oh, no,
this is tragic. Oh no! Oh, he's lost a bit of front wing though.
He's lost a bit of front wing. He went for the ghosted turnaround. There was a Toro Rosso also in the barriers, Callum, there. So I think that may have been Simu Alonso there, who was in the Toro Rosso. He's obviously, if he did miss last episode, he was a reserve that come up from GP2. So he's in a Toro Rosso car. So I think that was him in the barrier potentially as well.
Sure, if it was him or not.
It looked like a Toro Rosso. We'll have to see. That may be just the camera car as well. I'm just thinking back. There may be just a camera car there as well. But yeah, very unfortunate there for Clarkey. So now that does mean, though, that does play into Jay Thorne's hands. Obviously, go up to 7th place. Then you got Simu Alonso in 8th, and that'll be Walsh and then Warren in 9th and 10th place there in the Haas and the Williams car there. But at the moment, still, as we mentioned, Novatang right on the back of Ali K. Now, we've said maybe Ali will kind of, make it a bit of an easier move, but I actually don't think so. I think these two are just going to fight. I think Ali K has every right to. It's so early on in the season. Even if Novatang does have lightning pace, I think these two have respect for one another enough to just be like, no, we'll just go out racing. So I think at the moment, Ali K is looking to just try and get away, block Novatang a little bit, and try and catch up to that Williams car. I feel like if you get on the toe of the Williams car down the main straights, down his pit straights, he can try and pull them in, because the same thing is happening up front. Nardi X team, as I look in the distance, looks like he's just about catching up to Aresi there, but Novatang still right up the gearbox. Will he make a move? Actually, he'll go for it. Oh my god, down the inside towards Casino. He's made the move, and that seems like Ali K's given him a lot of room there, so maybe there was a little bit of respect between teammates there, and he's up in 3rd place. Fantastic move there for the lead championship man.
Very respectful racing between the two of them. I think Ali K didn't put much of a fight, because you can see the gap between the Mercedes and the front two is starting to edge away. It's not that much bigger, but it is starting to open up. But still can't take away from the fact that that was a very good move. It's you can be very, very brave going up the inside into Massenet, trying to get the brakes all sorted out. As we saw on the restart, people can go on very, very easily, and both Mercedes could have been on the wall at that point. But no, the X team, like he did mention, Aarav, is closing up to Aarava, is close up to him through the braking zone, seeming to be not being held up by Aarava at the moment, but I think he won't. I think he's enjoying the fact that he's right on the back of the Red Bull driver, because he's going to be put under so much pressure in the race lead at the moment as you go through the final end of the third sector. Any sort of manoeuvre into Raskas, no move at the moment, but like you said, Aarav, it's still a long season, long race. They don't want to be making any sort of silly mistakes now, because they might ruin it later on in the season and also in the race. But as you go along the start-finish straight to start lap number 10, any sort of manoeuvre into turn 1, no, not at the moment. So it is literally going to be all about traction zones. It's going to be who can get the best traction coming out the corner. He's right in the slipstream of the Red Bull driver going into Massenet. He's going to be able to pick some sort of manoeuvre. No way through at the moment. It's another time round. I think we're going to see a lot of manoeuvres maybe into Massenet, turn 1, and probably coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, like you said, mentioned, a battle of attrition, really, of just kind of being very patient and just waiting for that opportunity, because if you jump the gun a bit too early, then you've blown it. And as we said, we don't know what the weather's like. I'm trying to look around. I feel like the sky is not getting any darker, so I feel like it may be getting towards overcast, so that may be just enough dryness to dry the track out to maybe go into the slicks at the end of the race. We'll have to see. But if there is weather change to come, you don't want to wreck your race before it's even maybe started, because, you know, if you're changing tyres onto dries or onto the full wets, that may be a big opportunity to really jump over some places. As we now go on board for the first time in this race, Desimpele in the Force India trying to catch up to Walsh in the Haas car there. So it looks like he has been overtaken by the Williams car, because I believe it was Walsh ahead of Wallen but previously in this race a couple of laps ago. So I think Wallen's done a good job to overtake Walsh there. And so now Walsh falling back a little bit into the Force India's hand. Desimpele obviously has gotten very, very unlucky so far this season. We've seen many, many times you know, just things haven't gone his way, Desimpele really, in the Force India car. But so far going well, just outside that top 10, trying to get some points right now in this race. But we've just gone about a third of the way through now in this race, just about. So we've got 2/3 left, and so there's still plenty to go. So as I mentioned, just about patiently waiting. And speaking of that, same thing out on lap 11 again, RDX team, but this time now, Callum, look at that Nervo tank.
I've just been smiling. Look at Nervo tank. He is on the back of these two. Absolutely, he must have been pushing very, very hard. He's taking no prisoners around this Monte Carlo street circuit, and this is going to be a very, very interesting situation, especially for the RDX team, because what does he do? Does he focus on the driver ahead and just try and get past him, or does he focus on the fact that the current championship leader is on the back of him, and he caught up to them two drivers very, very quickly? And if there is a bit of dryness and the track does start to dry out, that's a completely different race. So, like I was just discussing a minute ago, the fact that you don't want to end up ruining your race strategy is a complete different aspect to a league race. But you can see RDX team very, very close to Aarava, coming out of the Harbour chicane, going into Tabak. He's got a much more better line. He's all over the back of him, but this really isn't any sort of overtaking position. He's just sniffing all over the back of that Red Bull driver. He's just trying to find, just ducking and diving, trying to find any sort of position, locking up a tiny bit going into Raskas, but no way through at the moment. And what does Nervo Tank do? Does Nervo Tank go all guns blazing? Does he dive it up the inside into turn 1 and hope for the best, or does he just protect the fact that he's on the podium and he's the current championship leader?
I think from what we've seen in Nervo Tank so far, he'll be clinical in his move. I think if he can see the space, I think he'll go into it like a surgeon. He'll cut that space out. He'll get the move done, and that's why I think the RDX team needs to. He's looking impatient. I think he needs to be impatient right now, and he needs to get past Aarava. I think at this point now, at this stage of the race, I think Aarava is the slower one out of all these three guys. Nervo Tank clearly the fastest one. And it's just really concertinaing up so much more than we've ever seen so far in this Grand Prix. And yeah, I get the feeling that an RDX team just needs to go for it, even though it may not end up the best. I think at this stage he's going to be, you know, give it a couple of laps. I think Nervo Tank's just going to cut in there and go for it. I'm just looking on the bottom right. He has set the supers off, so I don't know.
I was going to notice, going to point that one out. Yeah,
I don't know if his engineer has just told him. Jeff, his engineer, has just said there's going to be, you know, a lack of rain in 15 minutes. We don't know. Jeff works in mysterious ways, but it looks like, oh my! What's gone on there? Big C has been taken out by, I think that was Jaythorn, as Jaythorn got it wrong in the braking zone. We saw previously drivers getting their brakes hot under the collar, and it looks like Jaythorn has got it all crisscross wrong out the tunnel and has taken out Big C there. Unfortunately, he will have damage, I would imagine, And now you've got Jamie in the first of the McLaren cars in 12th place there with his teammate, the GP2 champion from last season, in 13th place, H-Racing Good right behind him. Meanwhile, we cut back to the race lead. It's still Aarava from NARDX team to Novotank. Novotank looking like he's hanging back a little bit, actually, so maybe doing a bit of real-life kind of racecraft here, just hanging back, you know, getting the popcorn out, just seeing what's going to crack off here. Maybe waiting for NARDX team and Aarava to come towards, basically. Yeah,
well, I've just been noticing Aresi's taking some defensive lines, and this time around as well, going into Mirabeau, just taking the defensive line, and NARDX team is literally all over the back. But I think these drivers might actually wait it out to the pit stops. I really do think that now, because they're going to struggle in these drying conditions. Going offline sometimes, it might be a bit different compared to the online, the actual wetness and the grip. So it's going to be very, very brave delving up the inside in these sort of conditions, but it's going to be the exact same sort of situation on the slick tyres as well. But a lot of the drivers, I think before Big C's incident, he was changing his mind, going from soft, maybe going super soft. So all the drivers are trying to weigh up the fact, what tyres do they go on? Whilst also trying to battle with the guy behind or trying to overtake a car. So it really just gives an insight into how hard it is to defend in this circuit. And wow, we can see NARDX team having to, well, Aresi going defensive into that corner. Very, very strange to go defensive into there, and Novotank, I don't know what he's actually doing. I think they're all in. They're all into the pits.
It's a pit stop battle here now, so Aresi is going to go down a little bit. It'll be Novotank who gets the first kind of in for his pit stop, and Ali K, oh, that's so unfortunate for him. Ali K does have to get held up there, but obviously his teammate is the leading World Drivers' Champion in the standings right now, and he's the reigning World Champion, so I guess that's kind of maybe understandable there, but to be fair, he doesn't lose too much time. He was well ahead of the cars behind him there, but a pit stop battle. Looks like Novotank is, he's got ahead. He's got ahead of the Williams car. Great job there for the Mercedes guys. Great one for the Mercedes boys, ahead of the Williams team. So, pat on the back there for the entire Mercedes crew. They've got ahead, and now Novotank can get on the back of Aresi. But now this will be very interesting. Novotank looked like to be the fastest car out on track, but Aresi, let's not take away credit. He was doing a brilliant job defending. Like, his defensive lines were very, very good up till now in this race. So it's going to be very interesting to see these two guys battle. But here's the replay now. There's yellow flags. Big C, I don't know quite what happened there. Looks like something.
Clarky just went into the back of him. You can see this incident earlier on in the race.
Oh dear, that's not pretty. Low-key getting in the barriers a little bit, and H-Racing Green just about squeezed around the outside. Now he's got an orange front wing, and this is J Thorne, as I said, lost the brakes, and oh my god.
Oh dear.
That is
How
not
did he not lose
crash.
a wheel in that? That was a very tight squeeze between the Ferrari and the wall, and a huge amount of front wing damage there. I think he would have got away with it. I'm guessing he probably pit at the end of that lap, and they might have been able to get away with putting on a set of slicks, and that is under investigation. And I won't be surprised. Oh, the actual Clarky incident was under investigation as well. I'm not sure the conclusion on that one. I'll be a little bit unsure, but the J Thorne incident, I'm pretty sure we'll know what the outcome on that one will be. But now it's completely inverted as well, Aarava, because we've got to think. Obviously, Novotank's pace in the wet was absolutely unstoppable, but there's a reason why Aresi was on pole. He qualified very, very well in the dry. So let's see what Aresi's pace is like. Obviously, race pace compared to qualifying pace can be very, very different, but the fastest laps will be tumbling now as the track gets quicker and quicker. But at the moment, Novotank is straight onto the back of Jim Aresi, and as they come out of Portier, I doubt there'll be any sort of manoeuvre going into the next corner. I think Novotank is a little bit too far back at the moment, but he's still got plenty of the race remaining. They probably will go to the end. Actually, who am I kidding? They will be going to the end on these super soft tyres. The tyre wear is basically just non-existent. That's what makes this track so interesting to us, because the only way they can make up positions is on track, trying to push against the wall and basically going all for it. But through that final sector, they were absolutely flying on these slick tyres, as the track seemed to have cleared up really, really quickly actually. But as they come out the final quarter of the minute, I think the DRS is now activated, so they're going to get an extra bit of boost going into turn number one. But as the fastest laps start to tumble, you've got to still point out though, Aarava, NARDX team is still right there. Obviously, Ali K has dropped off quite a bit after that pit stop incident, but that's not still got to count out NARDX team. He has been screwed over in the pit strategy. His slick pace still might be really decent.
Yeah, no. I think he's still very much in this. It's a bit of a cat and mouse game, I think, for him. But I want to also mention there before, we just saw a big shot player set the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Destin Pele up in 5th. If he's on the dries, I'm assuming for him, so that's been an amazing jump up in the position, because I believe he was around 10th place there before the pit stop phases. So absolutely won the job for him in the pit stops. he probably came in at the correct time, just the right time. There he is. Speaking of the man, very well timed there on the cameras there. Desmond Pele in 5th place, ahead of Big Shot player, who did set the fast after the Grand Prix just then. So looks like the pace Ferrari showed maybe in qualifying the dry definitely wasn't a fluke there. So maybe they're a little bit slower in the wet, but now it's gone. It's now dry, and maybe now the Ferraris can start to shine and come back in this race for 6th and 7th. Behind them, it is Wallen and then Jamie and H Racing Green, the 2 McLaren cars that round out the top 10. But we go back to this battle of Novatank, still in 2nd place behind Aarava and Nardi X Team in 3rd.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very long waiting game, I feel like now. I think we're going to be just kind of just looking at our fingernails, just hoping for the best. Just into turn 1, braking so late. These guys are absolutely on it. They are taking no prisoners around this street circuit as they currently go up to Massenet, just down a couple of gears into 4th, actually using a bit of 3rd just to get the nose turned in. And Novatank does look absolutely on it. Aarava basically ignoring the bump and just going straight over it. He just wants to get to the corner as quickly as possible. But as I said, the lap times are tumbling. Purple sectors every single lap. You see in the bottom left-hand corner that you can see where Ali K is. So that's how much time he's lost compared to the top 3. Hopefully, he has got the pace to maybe catch up to the front 3. Or if there is any sort of incidents between these front 3, let's not forget that the walls are still close and there are still plenty of laps remaining to make a mistake. Ali K still might have a chance to get to the podium. As he hit the wall from Novatank, a silly mistake that we've probably all done on this game. Oh, that is huge, huge in this
Callum, you cursed
battle for the race
cursed
lead.
It, mate.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You absolutely cursed that. Literally talking about Henson, talking about many laps left, and there you go, straight in. Wow, that is very unfortunate there for him. So now it's Aarava, the RDX team. Novatank, though, with the gap he had to Ali K, he's still 3rd, so fair enough to him, but now he's going to be very pissed off with himself more than anyone, really, after the bad luck he had in Spain. That wasn't his fault, and now here, a little mistake there, which, as you were literally saying, Callum, so easy to make, and we've got now what this will be about 20 laps almost left in this Grand Prix. You know, still so long to go. Obviously, they're going to the end as well, so maybe as they go on, even though the tyre wear is non-existent, there still will be a little bit, I feel, a little bit of niggling towards the end for the tyres. So these guys are just going to be on edge as the Grand Prix goes on. So we move back to a battle for outside the top 10. This will be, I think this is Alonso in the Toro Rosso down the inside of one of the Renault cars there. And he's made the move into turn 1, pretty decent for him. Meanwhile, we've got H Racing Green, the GP2 champion from last season, right behind his teammate Jamie. And looks like behind him J-Thorn as well. So these 3 in a bit of a scrap. J-Thorn obviously made that mistake previously into just outside this tunnel we're going to next. So J-Thorn trying to make up the positions, but the 2 McLaren cars doing very well here so far for the bottom end of those points there, doing decent enough. But now you can see as we move back on, that's Novatank through the final corner. And to be fair, to say he did a full 360 spin, he doesn't look too far off the top 2 still, Callum.
I think the biggest effect on him will just be his momentum, to be honest, because he was flying through the field after that race start and going straight into the slicks. And I did mention when we were riding on board with him, he was flying through these streets of Monaco, but I think it might have just put a little bit of a dent into his progress, a little bit of a dent into his momentum, and it's going to take him maybe a couple of laps just to get back into it again, but I'm sure he will be straight back onto the pace. As you can see, just the battle for the final point paying positions, a bit of a tongue twister, but I did notice actually Jamie's on the soft tyres. Quite an interesting strategic call there to go for the hardest compound brought to the Monaco Grand Prix. The rest of the drivers, I don't think I've seen anyone on the Ultra Softs, but the rest of the drivers on a Super Soft for the remainder of this Grand Prix. But as we resume back onto the front, there is Novatank. Doesn't make the same mistake this time round, and as they come out of the harbour front chicane, looks like about a 2-second gap between Nardi's team and Novatank at the moment. But let's see what Nardi's team does, because obviously we're back to the positions they were before the pit stops. Can he maybe put some sort of pressure on Aarava? But at the moment, fair play to Aarava. He's led the whole Grand Prix so far, apart from obviously Big C's little start glitch out the front. But Aarava is pumping in the lap times at the moment, and he's doing exactly what he needs to win this Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, he's controlling, he's doing exactly what we've seen so many times in previous real-life Monaco Grand Prix. It's just, you know, playing it smart. You've got track position, which is probably the most crucial around here in Monaco, and you can see as Nardi's team really closes up, he's just going to have to play even more defensive. He goes defensive a little bit into the next corner, and we've seen so many times already with 20 laps gone, he's played it perfectly so far on the Inters. It's a very, you know, Inter's a very tricky place to defend because you just never know going to the corner. Are the brakes going to lock up? Are your tyres just not going to be there for you? So Aarava so far doing a brilliant job
And now, this will get very interesting because as Aarava defends from the RDX team, this will just bring Novotank back into that. And then behind them, you never know. If there's enough defending, you never know. Maybe we'll see, fingers crossed, Ali K even get into that, and then it'll be a four-way scrap, which would actually be fantastic. But now as they go towards the swimming pool section, RDX team just still pushing hard, and you can see through that lovely panning shot there. I always love that shot of Monaco when you can just see the cars on edge of grip there through that high-speed chicane and into Raskas there. A little bit of locking up there for both cars, but through the final corner on towards lap 21. It's there's literally nothing between them. It's all same. It's all high intensity, high concentration. DRS wide open, but that's why we're like Monaco. Everyone's on it like a car bonnet every single lap.
I'm loving that you're using my saying straight away. the other way you picked that one up. But like you said, Aarava, it is going to be very interesting between the Aarava and RDX team, because if they start battling, Novotank's little mistake just basically gets erased. To be honest, he just gets pushed straight into the back. But outside the top four, Pelle, who's had an incredible strategy call. He has got the Ferraris behind him, and the Ferraris just seem quite decent around here in Monaco. So that's going to be a very interesting battle for 5th place within the top 10. Just going through the rest of the field, everyone seems a little bit more spaced out at the moment. iSuper Scrub on his own in P17, his teammate Clarkey after that slight incident at turn 1 down in P18. But as you look back at the front through the tunnel for another time in this Grand Prix, just heavy braking zone into the harbour front chicane. Just no sort of inroads from the RDX team at the moment. Again, it's like quite the waiting game for us commentators. We're just going to, that's the thing with Monaco, you might fall asleep for most of it, then suddenly something might happen and might crop up. But as you go through the very quick chicane that's been altered in more recent years, I'm still quite annoyed that they did that. Like
the change. Yes, you know, there's a few debates. I kind of like how it's very fast and flowing now. It's obviously got a bit of difference to it, and it was maybe a bit more of a challenge in the old version, but definitely is a lot of flowing. I think in a league race like this, it'll be fantastic because when you're chasing the car, you can still pretty much see them through the entire little kind of, well, I would say chicane. It's like a bit less of a chicane now, really. Kind of a high-speed kind of meander, I guess you could say, in river terms. Literally is like a meander, and you can still see the car ahead of you there. So it's kind of nice in that sense. But you can see now an RDX team getting very impatient, getting on the curbs a little bit on the right hand side, and you can see the proximity arrows there. And oh, a little bit of contact there with the Red Bull car going very slowly on the exit of the slowest corner in Formula 1. And so now this is really bunched up. They're literally nose to tail at the moment.
Yeah, they're really very much pushing each other through the streets of Monaco as we look back to P number 10. Jamie currently holding his own in P9 at the moment.
Oh my God!
A huge crash between the McLarens. I really wasn't expecting that. That made me jump. Oh my God!
What a crash we have seen
for
the two
both
McLarens
as well. That is absolute heartbreak for Zach Brown.
It's a McLaren civil war. That is not ended well. That is not ended well.
There's going to be huge uproar from the pair of them.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, Eric Boulier is not going to be a happy Frenchman. That is not going to turn out well. So a McLaren, looks like it was Jamie hit the wall on the left. Then H Racing Green also hit the wall on the right in what was it, Casino. And it just all constituted together into one big pile up there. Very unfortunate. And now we can see as they climb the hill, it's now a move for the race lead potentially. Will RDX team go around the outside? No, not quite there. So after that incident happened, RDX team thought he can spring the jump on Aarava. Not quite. Novotank is still right behind them. But I was going to say now that does mean that J-Thorn does climb up to 9th. And RBOS is finally up into the top 10 there behind Wallen, who's doing a pretty decent job there in 8th place. And the two Ferrari cars, Pelle in 5th. But we're still on with this top 3 fight there, and RDX team just had a little look, not enough, but now we've got, how many laps will that be? I'm trying to do some mental maths here. 17 laps left, I think that is. So as the laps tumble, I think we're going to see, oh, there's a bit of a lock up there from the RDX team. We're going to see even more impatience, and I think at some point, oh, we've got an incident now involving Big C and Clarkey. No further action. So that was the incident from before, Callum, that we saw. No action on that. I'm still not too sure what will happen with J-Thorn, but obviously if you don't know, AOR can definitely also put some post-race penalties on the standing. So if there is a penalty to be applied, we'll definitely see that at the end of the race, so don't worry about that. But now as we move on to lap 24, still looking at this very tense three-way battle, I guess you could say, for 1, 2 and 3 here between Aarava, RDX team and Novotank.
We've seen the first little faint dive, we've seen the first little bit of some murmurs of an overtake, but we're just sat here waiting. I feel sorry for Jamie because I've literally I jinxed it again. I said he was doing well and then he ended up in the wall and both McLarens are out, so huge shame for McLaren. But we've got to focus on this front battle at the minute as Aarava goes defensive once again going into Mirabel. I doubt we're going to see any sort of overtakes into the hairpin. It's always quite messy doing an overtake on the Formula 1 game, but as you go through this downhill right-hander thought going into Portier, is he close enough? No, he isn't. If anything, Nervotank looks closer to the Williams than the Williams does to the Red Bull as you go through the tunnel for another time, just heavy braking zone once again. But I've already said, we've got 17, now 16 laps. It's actually, we've got quite a poor exit there from the RDX team. I don't know, there must be a reason why we cut away. There must have been nothing really said, but we've mentioned Ali K, who seems very much on his own. Look at that bottom left mini-map. Yeah. Oh my God, he is absolutely on his own. I feel so sorry for Ali K from that, because you can't really help it with these sort of strategy calls where the rain's gone, the track's dry, you've got to pit, otherwise you're just going to lose even more time in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, he's doing full simulation of the 2017 season, really. He's just by himself, just pushing as hard as he can, really. I think we've seen time and time again that's basically been the pattern of some of these races in the real life seasons. Once again, is that just a little bit of inkling. The camera shot definitely is a little bit lying to us a little bit, because it always looks like they're trying to make a move around the outside. But you can see Nervotank also just kind of swaying about a little bit in the braking zones, just trying to put an RDX team off potentially. But as we said before, and I'll say again, Aarava, we can't take away from him at the moment, doing a fantastic job, as there was
contact
a little bit of contact there, because Aarava, it looked like that wasn't really lag, it looked like a bit more of a sideways moment there, because there definitely is a lot of sideways action from just the lag of the replay cameras. But Aarava definitely looked like he lost the back end a little bit more from some contact potentially. But Aarava's been doing a fabulous job so far to still be leading the way, as he said, led every lap apart from that little glitch one. And if he does come through to win this Grand Prix, it'll basically be a bog standard kind of Monaco win, really, doing the job, just hold your own, hold your nerves. And as once again we see through that lovely shot of the swimming pool section into Raskas, then Nervotank still right at the back, still with DRS, but it's just like we've seen also. This is actually kind of funnily just like 2017, really, in the 2017 season. Just they're all just pushing so hard. They're all just three fast drivers that they've just got nothing to separate them at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment it's literally just like that. Also, you can link it to the 2017 season as well. You have to take it takes a long time to build up a move. We saw it last time out in Silverstone. Yeah, it takes a while to, even if you've made a move and you've failed it, you've got to build up another 3-4 more laps before you can get close enough to maybe make some sort of position. But if Aarava can get a fastest lap as well as lead the rest of the race and the win, it'll be a Grand Slam. And a Grand Slam at Monaco is something you could definitely put on your CV. That's very, very impressive. We're going to see a replay. This is back on the intermediate tyres, coming on board with Alex, who's going reasonably slowly. Oh! What on earth happened there? Super Scrub just going up the inside. I did say a minute ago, it's quite rare to see a move going up the inside, and oh, this is just going to be more pain. This is more pain for us to watch as he just tries to do a 3-point turn. The car doesn't seem to want to reverse quite well, but he looked like he was going very, very slowly into coming out of Mirabeau, and then just diving up the inside. And then this is the incident between the Mercedes, both cars hitting the inside wall at Casino. That is just synchronized. And speaking of synchronized, bit of spinning from the Mercedes driver of Nervotank. So there are the incidents so far this race. But we're right on board, well, actually not right on board, we're looking at Desimpele, who is still holding his own in P5. And another shout out to him, because after that strategy call and keeping them Ferraris behind, I think P5 will be very, very impressive for the Force India driver.
Yeah, for sure. At the moment, it looks like he's got a big shot play, big under pressure. But now we got an incident that was Ice Scoop Scrub and Alex that we just saw there under investigation. Obviously, as you can't really get away with the dive bomb like that down the inside. A very, very unusual place. Really, only a place you make a move on AI. Really, not against the player, I would say. But yeah, Desimpele doing a fabulous job, and I think for the bad luck he's had so far in this season, I think he deserves a very big shout out for that drive he's doing right now. But Big Shot player did set fast up the Grand Prix at the start of the dry stint, so hopefully that may turn out into a very tasty battle. We'll have to see. But now we're back on board with an RDX team here in the Williams car, still looking at the back. He's probably got sick of that back end of the Red Bull, to be fair to him. For so many laps he's been looking at the back of that Red Bull sponsor on the engine cover, and he's still in second place, still catching. You can see through the traction zones gaining, and then into braking zones are actually getting away a little bit, and just again closing up so much here. And through that new section we were talking about, Callum, he gets very, very close. A little bit of contact made there into Raskas, trying to maybe feed something through. Goes a little bit wider to get a bit of a swooping line through the right-hander. Through the final corner they'll go on towards lap 29. This will be with 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix now. Will there be a move, Callum? I'm starting to actually doubt this. I think Aarava may be able to actually do this, to be honest.
Yeah, as the laps go by, I'm starting to doubt. We keep hyping up the fact that there might be an overtake. we might be hyping up the audience for no reason at all. There might be no sort of overtake, but he just seems to have made a slight mistake in this first sector of lap number 29, and Nervotank is all over the back of the Williams driver, but once again, just going defensive into Mirabeau. There's basically no way through, just the way that the corner's off cambered. It's very, very awkward. You need to be very, very brave on the brakes to go around the outside at Mirabeau, but as he dropped downhill once again, I've got everything crossed that there's going to be some sort of overtakes here, because then the last commentary I did was China, and we saw the top three basically come home just absolutely saying there was no sort of overtakes in the dying embers of the Grand Prix. But 10 laps remaining, there is going to be some. I'm just trying to visualise what it's like to be in this sort of position, because for me, very rare for me to be in this sort of position, and I would be nervous as hell to not turn in a little bit too early, turn in a little bit too late, lock a brake. Just any sort of silly mistake. So the fact that these guys have gone this far without making a mistake, bar Nervotank, but he got away with it very, very easily, it's going to every single lap that goes by, that little bit of pressure is just going to raise a little bit more and more, unless they're like Icemen and they're not under pressure at all, which I've been very, very surprised to see. But we're right on board with Clarky at the moment, who's currently recovering to P13. He's currently in a train with Alex and I'm Loki, and I can't see where P10 is. I think of RBOS, and it's quite the gap, so if Clarky does want to get any points this race, I think he's going to have to put in some solid lap times. He's currently on the soft tyre, Welsh just behind on the ultra softs, other guys around him as well I see on the soft tyre, so it's a slight variation in strategy as we see I'm Loki make a slight mistake going into the harbour front chicane, and Alex has managed to capitalise on that position. I'm Loki's gone very, very slowly through to back. Clarky, you can just see just getting slightly out of the throttle as he file through, going into the third sector, and another mistake we've seen, but I'm looking at once again getting away with it. Drivers actually seem to get away with it very, very easily, but Alonso doesn't seem to have got away with it at all as he lets through the leaders, and what on earth has happened to him for him to lose his front wing?
Well, I'm guessing he's put it into the wall. I'd be very surprised, but we've got the sound down the inside now. Oh no! We talked about another incident, we've jinxed it again. The two Haskars have gone round. There's a Sauber in the wall. It's all kicked up. Callum, we keep on cursing these drivers. They must hate us right now. We keep, obviously, well, that's a bit weird to say because it's already happened, but we keep doing a commentator's curse for the action we see. We talk about an incident, and an incident occurs right in front of our eyes. So the two Haskars into turn one, the exit of turn one. That's iSubscribe in another incident as the race leaders go through there. It's still a Resi from the RDX team to Nervotank, but it's all kicked off there outside the top 10. And so I'm surprised actually that there's been not a second safety car to be called, to be honest, because these incidents are quite big. That's quite a big kind of clean-up job for the FIA. So I'm actually surprised there's not been a safety car called out. But I guess, I don't know, maybe they're very confident the Marshal's going to do a decent job and get that car out off the track in a split jiffy. But now we've got 8 laps left in this Grand Prix. It's still a Resi from the RDX team, then Nervotank. 4th place, Ali K, as we look at this lovely bird's eye shot. Destin Pele still in 5th place. Big Shot Player 6th, Big C 7th. Wallen, an RDX team teammate, doing a great job there in 8th place after some really poor, unlucky races have gone by. Then you've got Jay Thorne, 9th place. He'll be a little bit disappointed, to be honest, because his teammates there doing the job in 1st place. Meanwhile, he's floundering there, 9th. And then RBOS, the lead Renault car. As I mentioned, and I'll say this probably towards the end as well, for me, I don't know about you, Callum, obviously you came in for China, but from the beginning of the season, we thought Renault, at least myself and Tom, we thought Renault would be doing so much better at this stage. There was so much touted for RBOS and Alex. As now you can see on the top, on the left, Alex actually goes up to 10th, and RBS is now down to 11th. We thought there'd be so much going on for the Renault cars, and we thought they'd be fighting these guys, Red Bull and Mercedes, but no, it looks like it's the one Williams car of the RDX team that's announced himself. So surprising there, but fabulous for an RDX team. Obviously, we said that he is in the same sort of, I guess you could say, clan as an Nervotank, so we thought maybe he'd be a dark horse, and he really has come through on that dark horse kind of description, because now he's looking very, very comfortable fighting for the lead and for the podiums now with his fellow clan member Nervotank and trying to fight a Resi.
Well, yeah, it's a clan 1, 2, 3, Jim 1, 2, 3
well, yeah.
at the minute. So clearly that clan is that if you want to be a fast driver, clearly that's the one you need to be a part of. But we currently see Ferrari fan who's going very slowly. I'm not really sure what's cracking off with him. But as we resume back on to the leaders at the moment, once again a slight gap has opened between an RDX team and Nervotank. I'm not really sure what's happened there, and he's had a great run, RDX team, going up the inside into Raskas, side by side with the Red Bull driver. They're going to go side by side once again, and they're into the wall. He's lost a bit of front wing. What on earth has happened there? And Nervotank has been held up, and I think that basically means that 9X team has got the race lead at the moment, but a bit of squeezing coming through the final corner. I don't think Jim Moresi got any sort of front wing damage, but also Novotank's got a bit of front wing damage as well. So I was just mentioning that he dropped off the leaders. He might have entered the wall at some point during that last lap, but finally, Arab, we've got some sort of action at the front. And we've got now, I think that the team are asking Novotank if he really ought to come in with that front wing damage. It's very, very hard to keep a car going with that level of front wing damage. I believe his left front end plate is bright red, but I'm not sure about the damage on other cars. But finally, Arav, we've got a bit of action at the front.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, eventually, it looks like the RDX have just got impatient, basically. For Novotank, though, not too sure about him and Ali K. The gap's big enough. Definitely is. There's a point to pit, really, as you said. It's so difficult to go around Monaco, let alone any track really on this game with a red front wing. So I think Novotank probably would pit, especially with the gap to Ali K. But for Novotank now, it's a qualifying ban for iSuperscribe causing collisions. So we've seen that now after the antics of iSuperscribe. So that's a bad day for him in the office. But now, Callum, do we think, is there going to be any incident or like investigation between an RDX team and Resi? Because it was a fair enough move going side by side to Raskas, but then going to the final corner, it almost felt like maybe an RDX team just couldn't turn the car in enough. But at the same time, that's maybe not his fault. It's just the natural progression of that corner. It's not really a corner you turn it right into the wall, because otherwise you will just hit the barrier on the right hand side. So I don't know, it's going to be an interesting one. But now Resi is having to defend it. And for now, Novotank isn't actually coming in, and actually surprisingly looks like Novotank's on the back of Resi right now.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when it comes to that incident, because the Raskas overtake was completely fine, but it looked to me like Aresi was trying to be a bit brave holding it around the outside. Obviously, he's only defended the position. It was quite brave from both drivers to go side by side through the final corner. It's hard to go through side by side for a lot of these wider corners here in Monaco. So one of the tightest corners on the track. That was quite brave, but I'm not sure. I think there might be a slight steward's inquiry, but it's going to be interesting to see what the stewards believe in that, because I think both me and you are a little bit unsure, just because Aresi was quite brave holding it around the outside, but then he's defended his position. 9X team trying to go up the inside. He's got to miss the barrier on the inside, otherwise he's going to end up backwards like Novotank earlier on in the Grand Prix. We've seen a slight overtake from the Sauber. I believe that is Clarkey going up the inside of Wallen, who is actually, Clarkey's up to P7. Is that? Am I seeing that? Is that actually Clarkey? I don't know whether that's Clarkey or not. I can't work out whether that's Clarkey. But yeah, I don't know about the incident. I'm going to have to see what the stewards believe. But right on board, this is actually Super Scrub, who is currently in P14 after all the incidents before, who's currently coming back through the field. Clarkey, I believe, is in P11, so I'm not sure what Sauber that was, but Clarkey is all over the back of the Renault driver. He's making a dive and move up the inside, but he is pulled out of it quite at the late moment. J. Thorne still holding P9, and Wallen still in P8. P7 is Big C, who is currently still defending from the Sauber. I think that Sauber's a lap down. I want to say that. I think that Sauber is a lap down.
I think so.
Yeah. Because he was making a spontaneous manoeuvre, and I was very, very surprised. Yeah. But Aresi, look at that front wing damage, and the rear tyres as well. Wow, and a bit of safety car action.
It's all changed now.
Scenes.
It's all changed now.
Scenes.
We've got 4 laps left of this Grand Prix. What will this mean? Will people be pitting? Will they not? Will they risk it for the chocolate biscuit? I doubt they will, because there's a big gap there for the top 3, so they probably worth them the pit. Will 9X team come in? No, 9X team does not come in, so I don't think he's got damage, actually, to be fair. But will Aresi come in? No. Novotank? I think he has. I think Novotank has. No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. Wow.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. So
it's going to be a showdown at the end, then, basically.
They are going to bunch up. So that's a fair play. That's a bold call not to come in with that amount of front wing damage.
It's surprising, but I think the gap. I think Ali K was putting in some good laps. Let's not forget, Arab, that these front 3 were battling very, very hard. They were holding each other up a lot. So that gap that we did mention earlier on would have been significantly reduced between the top 3 and Ali K. But we have got drivers in the pit lane. Wallen is coming into the pits, and with a guess he's going to put on a set of ultra softs. And yes, he is. The Williams mechanics giving him a very good stop there. Hopefully he doesn't lose too many positions. I think J. Thorne was just coming through, just entering the 3rd sector, so I don't think he's going to lose much time. And yeah, there is J. Thorne, and there's quite the train behind him between I think that's Alex, the lap down Sauber, as J. Thorne also comes into the pit lane. And I think most of them are just going to go for a last. Well, it's not a splash and dash; it's a grip and dash in a F1 sense, as he puts on a new front wing as well. So I think J. Thorne's going to drop quite a few positions. So I'm not sure why Jathan really come in there, because it looks like he dropped quite a few positions. So basically out of the points now. But as we move on to the restart now, we've got NardyX team going up the inside into the... Is this actually a replay?
Yes, it is a replay.
Oh dear. What do you think about that incident? That was brave.
That was, from there, it looked like he just made a very audacious move. From his onboard, I feel like he probably thinks he gave enough room. Obviously, in Aresi's screen, not the case. It's a tricky one. I would think it's more of a racing incident, I think he's made it work. Aresi did give him the room through Rasgas, so it's very touch and go. It's not black and white for me. It's very touch and go. It's very grey. All the superlatives. It's a very tricky one. It's
very beige.
It's one of those ones where I don't want to say too much because you know, someone's going to disagree with me. So I just don't know.
Oh yeah. Everyone's going to end up disagreeing with you. There's always someone out there to disagree with what you believe, but yeah, it did look slightly different on both onboards, if I'm honest. It did look like there might be a slight bit of lag involved, but we'll see what the stewards say. We've got a slight migrating host, and there's a lot of cars all being very, very ghost. Hopefully that doesn't affect the end of this race. But we have said that Ali K, hopefully he can catch up. Well, he's now right on the back, and surely you've got to really think Ali K's tyres have got to be in slightly better nick, because he hasn't been battling someone to the death. He's really been just driving around on his own. Well, he clearly hasn't made any mistakes, because we haven't seen any sort of replay. As we see the Mercedes, actually, there's a slight bit of ghosting underneath this safety car. But I think we're going to have 2 laps. I think we're going to have 2 laps of racing. I'm not sure if the safety car's going to be in this lap or next lap.
Let's have a look. I think the NardyX team looks like he is slowing the pack down a little bit. So I think it'll be, lap 38 and lap 39 then. Bit of a last minute, as you said, grip and dash, which is definitely a very new phrase. I'll commend you on that. But we go through the final few corners then, and it looks like we are going to restart this race then. So 2 laps to the end, do or die stop between NardyX team, then Aresi, Novatank, Ali K, Destin Pele, Big Shot Player, Big C, Wallen, Alex, and RBOS, 2 running cars in the top 10. Good to see there. But now going to turn 1, looks like someone's come out of the pits actually there, but it is still NardyX team for Aresi, Novatank. No one's made a move there. It looks like in the background though, I think, was that a position change? It looked like a Ferrari car was a little bit wayward there, but so far Aresi not being able to make any inroads there. And it is Big Shot Player we look at now, chasing after Destin Pele there.
And
Ali K, that was Ali K. That was the car I looked at there. I thought there was a car that went wayward. It was Ali K. Ali K's dropped down from what was 4th to now 6th. He goes ghosted. Is he disconnecting? Has he got an issue, Callum? I think he has.
I don't know. I think he's got some sort of ghosting issue, because his car, I did mention on the restart, his car had gone ghost. I'm not sure why. But he just seemed to be dropping through the field. I'm not really sure if it's like some sort of disconnection or not, but that's absolute heartbreak for Ali K. It looked like it was all set up for him to maybe grip, just have one hand on the podium at least, but he seems to be dropping through the field. He's now behind RBOS. I think the other Renault of Alex is going to get past him as well, so huge question marks over Ali K. But I want to really look at the front of the field. We've only got 1 lap remaining as they come through the final sector of lap number 38. We've got just lap number 39 to go, and that will be it. NardyX team currently still leading the way from Aresi and Novotang. Let's see what sort of battling may be going off up ahead. In Aresi, there's actually quite the gap between the 2 front runners, and Novotang has dropped back even more, so this final dash seems to be just put down the drain at the moment. All these drivers have really separated out, so I think any sort of overtaking will be a little bit further behind. Destin Pele now up into P4.
Yeah, he's being caught. He's being caught though. Destin Pele.
Got front wing damage.
This was a dream strategy already for the man in the Force India. Now he's on the back of the championship leader now with that front wing. I did say it was a bold call to not coming for a front wing change there. And now he's going to have to do half a lap of the defending of his life here to not be overtaken by the Force India and potentially Ferrari car, Big Shot Player, who's right behind Destin Pele there. But I want to say, Cal, this is going to be very interesting to see if NardyX team does, if there is a penalty, this is going to be very controversial with the gap there of what's going to happen at the end of the race result. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But as we're still running on board with Novatank, because it is just NardyX team controlling it from Aresi. As you can see, and as we talk about NardyX team, we cut through, and there's a 15-second penalty for NardyX team. So that will mean as they cross the line, it will be the Williams car to cross the line for the win. But officially, it will be Jim Aresi to take the Monaco win. So it is going to be the win and the pole for Aresi there. Novatank, that will mean, will come home in 2nd place technically, and that should mean, I don't know about the time gap, but that could mean an absolutely bonkers podium for Desimpele, who, he's got to be the driver of the race if he gets that. That's going to be amazing. And it's actually going to be, as we go on to the final race results, second place for the man in the Force India, because Novotank, I think he maybe just, maybe a penalty, maybe just dropped down the field, because obviously we were looking at Nardiek's team going through the final corner, so maybe while we're looking at that, we missed something there. Novotank moves out to 9th. It's Aresi with the win, but for sure now, Callum, driver of the day, Desimpele. You know, he was down at just outside the points at one stage. Strategy call to get up to 5th, and then climbs up to 2nd. Absolutely amazing. Big C gets 3rd place as Big Shot goes down the order with what looks like, well, I think Big Shot was right behind Novotank, was he not? Because I think there's been a
3-second penalty right
3-second penalty. So
yeah,
so a lot of little kind of post-race adding on to kind of change that round, and that does mean that Wallen does a fabulous job there. So who would have thought? I really wouldn't have put my money on Wallen being the #1 Williams car for this race after how good Nardiek's team was looking. But Wallen, the Frenchman in the Williams car, fantastic job for him to get 4th. I think his highest position in the season so far. So well done to him. Big Shot player 5th. Alex in 6th doing well. RBOS in 7th. So decent enough recovery, I would say, from their very low-end qualifying results for the 2 Renault cars. Then Clarkey in 8th. Jim Novotank in 9th place. Jay Thorne does get 10th in the end there. And Nardiek's team, well, Callum, after all of that, not even points in this race. Very, very annoying race for him then at the end of that, as it looks like all the guys were actually so close in the top 10 after the safety car. That 15 seconds was just way too much for him. It was deadly for him, basically, that penalty. And then outside the top 10, it's Simu Alonso in 12th place, Loki 13th, Ferrari fan 14th, Ali K, obviously some sort of disconnection issue, as we confirm now, so really, really unfortunate for him. 15th place, iSuperscrub with a qualifying ban for next time in 16th place, H Racing Green 17th, Jamie in 18th, then to round out the grid, Shelley and Walsh in 19th and 20th.
So now going into the next race, this is what the Drivers' Championship looks like. Jim Aresi, after that race victory, takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship with 79 points. Novotank, after dropping massively at the end of that Grand Prix with a lot of post-race penalties, the 9-second corner cutting penalties, I believe, moves down to 2nd place, 77 points, only 2 points separate the leaders at the moment. Ali K drops down to 3rd with 55 points. Nardiek's team picking up very little points, down in 4th. Big C moves ahead of Clarkey after pick up a decent amount of points here in Monaco. He's got 35, Clarkey 34, then Alex in P7 with 30, Jamie in P8 dropping down with 26 points, Desimpele in 9th with 22, and RBOS round out the top 10 for the Drivers' Championship.
And then going to the second half of the table, we got a whole lot of drivers really dropping positions after that very hectic race. Shelley in 11th place, Jay Thorne in 12th, Walsh in 13th. RC Wallen, though, with a fantastic result there at Monaco, as I mentioned, moves up to 14th place there, and a Ferrari fan in 15th place. Big Shot player does move up as well in 16th place. Both Ferrari cars are going to be very happy after that race. H Racing Green down to 17th place with Wooly Alter in 18th there, moving down. And then non-point scoring position players, Loki, iSuperscrub, and then Simu Alonso obviously came in only just last race, so fair enough hit for him in 21st place.
So taking a look at the Constructors Championship, Mercedes are still leading the way. There's no change at the top, but Red Bull make a huge dent in Mercedes' lead. They are now on 94 points to Mercedes 132, with Renault making huge inroads this race, moving up into P3 after overtaking a lot of the teams below, now on to 55 points, and Ferrari making huge advancements as well with 45 points to their name.
So that has been the end of a very thrilling Monaco Grand Prix. If you did enjoy, hit that like button. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed to this channel for more AOR videos. And be sure to go check out all the people working on this video in the description. Links will be below. The next round is round number 6 at the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll see you guys then. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.